Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMtrading. Today is February 2nd, 2021, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching the U.S. markets bounce, but the question is what's next? First, looking at the economic events of the day, we had one major economic event coming out of Australia earlier this morning. It was a interest rate decision, but really no effect in the markets altogether. However, looking at the various markets, we're watching the dollar actually gain versus the major pairs while the US indices bounce. And looking at commodities, oil gets a little bit of a breakout to $54 a barrel, while gold pretty much unchanged. And the stocks that led us higher yesterday was both Amazon and Microsoft yesterday. They were the leaders of the pack. The question is are they going to get that follow through today? And lastly, looking at Bitcoin, not really much change there. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're going to take a look here at the Euro USD on a daily chart just to show us where we're at, and we're breaching that 121 just very subtly. Okay, we are still sitting on support here for all intents and purposes. So I'd like to see this really break this 120-ish level for it to really challenge this support line. Now this is happening across the board. If we look at the British pound versus the dollar, also getting much weaker yesterday, selling off of our 137.46-ish level, but bouncing off of this 136. So we are in a bona fide range for the GBP USD. If we look at a 4-hour chart, you could see that we're flattening out that trend line that we were setting ourselves up. Now jumping into commodities, looking at oil, getting that little perk above $54. That's the first time we've had in quite some time. So that's really an important number that it's pushing higher. Now jumping to the US indices, right now we're looking at the Dow Jones as it hit that 30,279-ish level, and that was really the spot, okay, where it took it down. All right, look at that. It was a perfect Fibonacci retracement right there. You could see it as it hit there, and now it's breaching there. So I do expect this to trade within a range somewhere between the 30,300 and 30,000 level. Okay, altogether this has gained nicely since our retracement from last week, and that would almost put us at a 50% bounce from our sell-off. Now looking at the NASDAQ, also got that little perk, and this was a little bit further. Okay, if you look at the NASDAQ, it's a little bit stronger than the Dow, as it did perk up to 13,300-ish level there as well. Now looking at Apple, this was one of the two that led us higher yesterday. You can't see that so clearly here. 132 is where we're at right now, but really the one that took us higher was Amazon. Look at that, like a almost orbital, taking us to 3,338. Now we are at resistance level, so I'd like to see some follow through today. And if we don't get that, that means we'll have a further sell-off. Now, another point to really make is that Congress is still, and between Congress and President Biden, they're still floating this idea of a further stimulus package for the American people, which the markets kind of tend to respond favorably to, even if it's a fictitious, if you will, way to engage the markets to impute some liquidity into the markets. So it's something to consider going into today's trading as well. Now remember, we do have NFP on Friday. And lastly, looking at Microsoft, also hitting that high of 241 as well. So you see the markets are kind of rotating with individual stocks that are carrying the market higher, but it's not across the board. Lastly, looking at Bitcoin, pretty much unchanged here. We're really, in a very tight range as we're hitting this 34-ish thousand level. So like to see some sort of breakout in either direction for us to have some sort of guidance moving forward. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.